everybody. Welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
Today we're taking a look at the latest from the Oniverse series of games. This is Cyberion, a 1 to 2 player cooperative game or solo game in which you are, in this one, trying to repair some machines in a dream setting so that the world can continue to march on.
Something artsy along those lines.
Something like that, yeah. Don't quote me on all of that theme, but it's just something like that. This series of games is now, I think, 6 games deep? They're all from the same designer, and they're all, again, 1-player games or 2-player games. You know, they have like little 2-player variants that make it a little cooperative game. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this one. I'll explain how the game works. They're always sort of a core game and then a few modules. I'm not going to go into the modules, really. We'll discuss them later on. But, I'll just show you kind of what's going on, and we are going to be right back. Here we're going to be taking a look at the game in its most basic form. Be aware, there are several modules and expansions and little ways to tweak the game that come right in the box. So we're not going to be dealing with that right now. So our objective is to fix all of these machines. And we are going to have a selection of 5 here at the beginning of every one of our rounds. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over 5 of those. I'm also going to, from this shuffled deck of robots, flip over 5 of them. I have 2 times through this deck to fix all of these up here. And after this deck is depleted and I need to shuffle it up, I am going to flip this over. And then next time it runs out, I do not shuffle it. I have whatever I have left to fix all of these. If I manage to do that, I win the game. All right. There's also going to be one of these that you begin with, and you can make the game. The game is modified the difficulty by how many of these you begin with. And there's also one of these they suggest you begin with out of a few different ones. I'll explain what that is in a second. You can also, again, start with more or fewer of these based on the difficulty you're looking for. Every round is going to have 2 parts, the intervention first and then the cleanup. And during the intervention, which is when I'm, basically manipulating things trying to win, I'm going to be able to do one of 3 things, all right? The first one is repair. Repair entails having the necessary symbols or numbers here in my area and discarding those cards in order to repair one of those. So, for example, if I have... this one here takes 2 4s. I have a 4 here and a 4 here. You'll notice every card has 2 things, a symbol and a number. I could discard both of these, put them in my discard pile, and this is repaired, and I'll put that somewhere in a repaired pile. That's the first option, repair. Second option is triggering. To trigger something means taking a card I have out here, discarding that card, and triggering the ability in the corner. The abilities are over here. Right now, these abilities are at their lowest level, i.e., they don't even do anything. But throughout the game, you'll be able to level these up, and then the abilities, as you discard these cards, get better and better. All right? And in fact, the third and final option is upgrading. Upgrading is taking one of these repaired machines, removing it entirely from the game, and then leveling up one of these things. Now, you need to remove a number of these equal to the one you want to level up. You see numbers across the top? And so a single repaired machine can take any one of these in the first column and move it up to the next one. So it's the one that it's being repaired, that is being leveled up from. You discard that many machines. So one machine, gone. I get to take one of these, and I get to push it up to the next one. Next time, if I want to level this up, it takes 2 repaired machines. And so there you go. Those are the 3 options. I can repair, I can trigger something, or I can upgrade something. I'll go ahead and go to the triggering now so you can see how that works. I now have leveled up this one, so I could discard this card or this card and trigger that ability. Whenever you trigger one of these, you can do it up to the level you are at or anything lower. And you can also just discard one without any effect, which is, you could do for any of these right now. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to discard this card. And The blue ability, this one here, says that I can take cards, in this case up to 1. That number would get better, but right now it's just 1, from anywhere out here and put it on the bottom line. Now I have in front of me 3 lines of cards. Obviously right now I've only got cards in the middle one, but I can have up to 3 lines of cards. Those lines are going to be called the platform in the middle here. That's the one I've got right now. And then on top of that is the flash line and then the stock down here. The difference between them is no cards just automatically show up down here in the stock, but you can force some down there. So for example, by discarding this here, I can take a card from either one of the 2 other lines and put it down here in the stock. And then the flash line, which is at the top, some cards will put some cards up here, but they do not stick around at the end of a round. If I have any left up here, they'll go away, all right? So I've fixed one machine here. I did a little manipulation. Whenever I'm ready to call it, I can be done with my turn. And now we go to the cleanup phase. During the cleanup phase, the first thing I need to check is, did I fix any machines this round? I did. I fixed one right here. If I had not fixed any of them, then I lose one of these tokens. And if I cannot lose one, then I lose the entire game, all right? But I didn't. I fixed one, so I'm good. Now I'm going to replenish this line right here, and I'm going to replenish my platform. I'm going to fill this back up to 5, and it'll be the top of my turn again. And so now, once again, I have all of my options available to me. I can fix one of these, I can trigger something, and I can, assuming I have some repaired machines, I can upgrade some things. So taking a look here, I can discard this one and this one together, and I can fix that. I'll go ahead and do that. These 2, fix this one. I can now eliminate this card and level up one of these. So perhaps I'll do this one right here. There we go. Now I have access to that ability. And this again continues until I want to stop. Maybe I'll re-trigger one of these. I'll go ahead and do this one. And again, you saw that ability already. It's take a card and put it down here. Once I level this up some more, I'll be able to do it 2 more cards. So there we go. I think I'm done for now. I fixed something, so I'm good. Put a new one out, replenish my platform, and I am up again. Again, this continues until I complete all these or I'm done. I run out of cards and can't finish it. I run out of these and need one more, that sort of thing. So let me explain what these abilities do, and you'll know pretty much everything you need to know about these cards over here. So the top one here is the one, these, that is going to put some cards into the flash, and they come from the deck. That's the benefit. You get to see a bunch of new cards that just might not stick around. And it'll be, assuming this, for example, was way up here. If I discard one of these cards, I'm going to take 3 from the deck and put them up here in my flash line. All right. The next one you've already seen. It is take cards from the play area and take them down here, and they will stick around if I don't use them. I don't lose those cards. The next one over here lets me recycle cards from the discard pile. It can either be its own symbol or a different symbol, any symbol really. And then if you level this up enough, the card that you recycle doesn't just go on top of your deck, you'll actually bring it into play, if this is high up enough, for example. This next one over here lets me look at the top of my deck of cards. The number of cards I look at is what changes as I level up. And then I can take those cards, say take a look at 2, put them up on the top or the bottom, and then bring one into play, like that. And then this last one over here lets me discount one of these machines to be fixed, and making it easier to fix, but I have to pay a penalty in burnt cards. Very severe penalty at first. I need to just kind of burn 5 cards from either the deck or the play. But I get to sort of select one of these and say, well, one of the cards needed for this is already taken care of, so I just need the other thing. And so that's one way to get around the limitations. Now these, you've only seen level 1s up here. They're only 2 symbols. But as we go through the stack, you'll get to level 2s, and they will have more symbols across the bottom there. And there might even be some tricky ones that require that you have low values. Like this one is 3 cards that are at most 6 together and things of that nature. So there you go. That's how the game works. These tokens over here, which I told you I'd come back to, you begin with 1 or more of these, or possibly even none, and they give you a free ability that is basically one of these. All of them are one of the abilities in column 3 over here. And so you begin with it already, though, so you can just discard the token without having to burn a card for that ability or even get the token up to that level. You just have a little wiggle room for managing everything you have to manage. So there you go. That's how the game works. Let's go ahead and go back up top. All right, there we go. So the last one of these, which was called
Stellarion.
Yeah. We reviewed. Us two and Mike reviewed that one together last year, about a year ago, actually, because it came out at Essen Spiel last year. And we all felt it was, I think, okay.
Yeah, it was fun, but it needed those extra modules to make the core loop of the game, for me, something worth kind of coming back to. And
right.
I honestly haven't played that one too much, right? The first one of the series, Oniverse, is I think by and far the most popular of that line. It started with a solid one. Mm-hmm. You've played more of these than I have, but the ones that I've played, there are some good ones. There are some not as good ones.
Right.
But Castellion is probably my least favorite. I think
Castellion is also probably my least favorite.
Okay.
But I think right after that, and in fact, I might rate these at these at some point, so I won't give you a whole breakdown or anything. But I think right after that, from the bottom to the top, might be Stellarion. I really thought it was all right. I did not give it a negative review. I just thought it was a bit of a space hog. It didn't quite... It was hard to grok and manipulate in a fun way. And these games are all about manipulating stuff. Be it dice, cards, tiles, whatever, and having fun and puzzly sort of moments with that. I thought Stellarion wasn't quite, up to snuff when it came to the other ones. However, the only reason we keep bringing this up is, and I think Chris agrees with me, I think Cyberion here is solidly in the top half, maybe even top third of the games in this series. I think this is an excellent, excellent game. The management of what you are doing here, the push your luck, the special abilities that you need to not just improve but unlock in the first place are really fun. And they are all sensical and they're easy to understand and give you a lot of manipulation and a lot of control, really.
And as you mentioned, a lot of fun. They're very fun to do. And this is not going to be a comparison to the previous game by any means, right? But your point being, some of these games, the manipulation is more fun, and this is one in which it ramps up the fun. I read a little bit of the designer's designer diary where he said he wanted to try to manage to, within a single game, a single small little game session, have the idea of a constant addictive drip, right? I think he compared it almost like Marvel Snap or those types of games where over the course of lots of plays, you unlock new stuff and you're excited about it. So within one game, you kind of move up these little tech tracks. And that is exciting. You accomplish an objective, you finish a machine card. And now that machine card is a potential upgrade to your already neat little card manipulation system. That's exciting to jump into.
It really works well. I love that the 5 or so different powers, that your estimation of which ones are the better ones, which ones you kind of ignore, is going to change as you play the game more. I've had games where I don't even unlock one of them, where I'm just like, oh, these are my 2 favorite ones. And then I remember the first time I played, in fact, I just did a few of them, and I ignored 1 or 2. And then the next time I played, I flipped that, and I thought, why was I sleeping on this one power? This is amazing. It's like my favorite power now. So I really like that. I like what it's doing. And I find the game's engagement, the sort of, all of these games are kind of at their very, very core, good old kind of Klondike solitaire-ish. You know, there's something about them that is sort of classic in that way with a regular deck of cards. I think this one manages to give me that same feeling of kind of shuffle up and play again. You know, that feeling of, ooh, I'm doing fun things. Things are getting close. The deck is running out again, and I haven't quite finished. The game's fairly easy, I will say. I think it's one of the easier ones in the series, but I'm enjoying that. I'm liking that tension of seeing your deck of cards dwindle, and the machines you still have to fix aren't going away, and you're running out of time. You're running out of, movable parts. I really enjoy the way this plays out and comes together.
When you say easy, like easy to win or easy to upkeep?
I think easy to win, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would say it's easier to win than some of the other games in the series for sure. But then another great thing that Shadi Torby, the designer, does is he always includes, here's 3, 4, 5 extra modules if you do find this one easy. Throw some stuff in that some of them make it, I think, just objectively harder.
Right.
Some of them don't necessarily make it harder, but just make it different. So your prescribed strategies and things that you unlock, you might all of a sudden say, that doesn't work when I'm playing with these little additions.
Yeah. I really like the expansions in this one, the little modules. My favorite one is the babies, the baby bots. They have this feeling of, and I love this, like you said, this isn't necessarily harder. It puts pressure on one point and then releases at a different place. But you have to burn cards out of your potential pool in order to get these little baby robots and shuffle them into the deck. They do nothing. When you do that, you're wasting cards, doing nothing. However, when that baby shows up, you immediately remove it from play, do yourself a new card, and the matching track levels up automatically. And it is such a good feeling. You're like, oh my goodness, I got a free bump up on that track. No matter what level it's at. That could save you 3, 4 fixed machines. I mean, it's insanely good. So I really like that one. But they're all interesting. You're going to have some you like, some you don't, but they're all interesting.
I really like the one that has the multi-use card, or they're wild cards almost, right?
Right.
It's an orange, but any number, or it's a 4, but any machine color.
Right.
You think, these are great. But then you shuffle level 3 difficulty machines into the deck.
Yeah.
And you think, whew, okay, once again, right, those are harder, but it also gives me more, right? I love the way you described it. Ease up pressure one spot, put more pressure in a different, and that's a great dynamic for all of these modules.
It's brilliant, the very simple sort of skeletal structure of these games, and then the designer goes in and presses here and releases over here, and then a different one, he puts pressure over here, and you thought that you had a lot of time. You have no time now. And you thought it was easy to make connections. Well, now you have to do it across the entire map. And these things that just sort of, he takes the variables, the knobs, and tweaks them. And I just find that fascinating, even just from an appreciation of game design, looking at that and going, oh, I see what the base game is, and I see how these little micro expansions affect that and tweak it and change it and make me reevaluate things I thought I understood.
Right.
I really like that.
Whereas in some of these games, I feel like those modules are necessary. This one, I think, is just very fun straight out the gate.
I agree.
And then those modules are just, whipped cream, cherries, sprinkles on top of already a great ice cream sundae.
I agree with that. Also, I'm hungry now. All right, so folks, as far as final thoughts here go, I'm coming in very high on this one. Like I said, I like this series quite a bit. This is near the top for me. I'm giving Cyberion a 9. I think it is a fantastic solitaire game. One I am absolutely going to keep playing for a long time to come, I think. I love the setting, the vibe, the look, but the gameplay is just, ice cream sundae is a good way to put it. I'm loving it. So that's a 9 for me.
I'm giving it an 8.5, and I think that I think it with time could kind of move up. It's one of those that I want to play with some of the modules more and see if there's ways to mix them and stuff as well. So that's something I have not done, is try to play, what happens if I do these two together, because I don't even know if they're necessarily meant to.
But you can throw in whatever you want to. You can mix them.
I'm going to, and so that's the thing. I can see this moving up in the future. Your first exposure to it sounds strange with these 3 rows with the different names, and then you start to learn how they behave differently, why they behave differently, and then it becomes a very fun puzzle to manipulate. Plenty of content in the box. This is a home run. It's an 8.5 for me.
I agree. All right, so there we go, folks. That is a seal of excellence for Cyberion. Check out the game. Check out the series of games, the Oniverse games, and, of course, our reviews of the previous ones as well. So that's going to do it. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
Watch out for robots grabbing you in your dreams.